So,
Yeah.
welcome to our live stream on Checkmk and on the Checkmk agent. I have with me in the studio Andy.
Hi.
Hi, Andy. Andy is a developer at Checkmk for more than 5 years, and most times you build stuff around the agent.
Yeah, been
Don't you?
around the agent. Started with the agent updater, agent bakery, and agent architecture, agent itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the agent days, the agent just was the shell script that's run by xinit, but
Yes, we started
things-
with that. We've been on systemd for some time now, and of course on Windows, which is kind of completely different.
I know in the
Yeah.
old days of Checkmk, that was one of the most asked questions: when will there be an agent for Windows?
Yeah, we have that for some time now.
So I needed to create one myself, which was very hard at that time with a cross compiler running on Linux.
Yes, we
And-
started with compiling it on Wine and on Linux machines, but no,
Yeah, and
it's
the Windows API is
really
very low
Windows.
level, so it's hard business most times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but things have changed, and now everyone is talking about security. We have Russian hackers and stuff like that, and
Yes, it's this times, yeah.
other
This
hackers
times.
as well. So so we go with the necessity of making Checkmk more secure all the time. And one topic, of course, is the TLS encryption that's new to the Checkmk agent.
Yeah, since 2.1. Well, essentially, it's a new mode of contacting the agent. When you think about contacting the agent, it's a Linux shell script, or in Windows it's built similar. Well, you can contact the agent via a port, and you will receive the monitoring data. And of course, you can apply encryption, symmetric encryption with AES, and that's all fine. But
Yes, it's the pre-shared keys. Yeah,
the pre-shared keys.
you create some key of your own, then you put that into some rule on the Checkmk server, and the same secret you configure in the Checkmk agent
Yes.
somewhere. And
Yes, I would call that secure. But with Checkmk 2.1, we did one step further, and we applied TLS encryption. So basically, we are contacting the agent via a TLS tunnel now, and so we have enabled that by default. There's no need to enable it in the rules in Checkmk, and of course you have authentication now, because you have certificates that are involved there in TLS, and you have to trust the Checkmk server.
yeah, so when the Checkmk server wants to monitor a host, it connects to the port as it was all the time.
Yes.
But then within that connection, you run a TLS protocol handshake and so on.
Yes, this will be wrapped in a TLS tunnel.
Yeah. But isn't that, just to understand it right, in this situation, the Checkmk agent is the TLS server, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is.
So it issues some kind of server certificate, and
Yes. You have to do that, of course, because when you install the agent to a host, you have to establish trust somehow.
Yeah.
And you do this by one registration. That's one step that you need to do, because you have to trust the Checkmk server, and the Checkmk server has to trust the host, of course.
yeah, because it's also important that you don't send the monitoring data to some
Yes.
fake Checkmk
Yes.
server.
And when we talk about TLS, it's in how the internet works with HTTPS. There's always certificates involved.
Yeah, it's a well-established
It's just
security procedure, yeah.
well hidden from you when you browse the internet, because it's built into your browser, but it's there nevertheless.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
okay, so the first question is, of course, we see we have better security. We have now industry standards for security.
Yes.
We don't have just encryption. We also have authentication. So both sides of the channel know that the other one is authentic.
Yeah.
Which is also important. One thing springs into my mind. The original Checkmk agent access was a read-only connection. So I would connect to a port and wouldn't send anything, and just got an answer, which has the nice effect that it's completely impossible to make command insertion attacks, buffer overflow hacks, stuff like that. I just can see the data and that's it. And with TLS now I send something, so what about the security impact of that?
Well, it's basically it's the same as before. We used to have a part that we contact our agent, and the agent would immediately answer just with plain data. And now at this, we used to have this port with a systemd unit or with the xinetd service. So it will connect this socket on your machine, on your host, directly to the agent script. And well, now we need some software to do this TLS tunnel. And we wrote a small piece of software that is the agent controller. We wrote it in Rust, so it's super safe.
Okay.
You can be sure. Yeah, and what this piece of software essentially does when you contact it is that it takes this traffic or this query and it just starts with a TLS handshake, and after that it will be just the same. The agent controller will read the agent output from the agent shell script and will just send it over. And it will accept no further traffic from the Checkmk server.
So the agent itself still does not read anything.
Yes.
But within the TLS handshake, there is some data being passed to the agent. So that means if there's a bug in the TLS implementation, we have to fix it soon.
Yes.
If there would be a buffer overflow, or something which happens every 10 years or so, then you would have to update, of course.
Yeah, the only traffic it will accept is a TLS handshake.
Yeah.
And if it's not a TLS handshake, it won't accept it. It will
probably had security issues
just
in
crash.
TLS and so on, but but that's the price to pay for internet security. I mean, that's the best established standard. So.
Yeah, and we use recent versions of TLS. We wrote both sides of this TLS communication, so it is the most recent one that is chosen by definition, and it's TLS 1.3 at the moment.
Okay, perfect. So that's the next question that springs into my mind if I'm a user.
Yeah.
What the heck do I need to do to set this up? Because obviously it's going to be more complicated than just have a port that's answering anyway.
Yes, it sounds complicated, but it's not that complicated. Maybe I think we can have a look at it. Can I have the screen?
But before we dig into the details, what's the general idea to set up these mutual trust?
Yeah, okay. You download the agent, your agent package from the Checkmk server, just like you do now, or you used to do, and you install it, maybe the RPM or the Debian package.
So can I use the generic agent package, or do I need the agent bakery for that?
Yeah, it is the generic and the vanilla, and even in the raw edition it's included.
Okay,
so you need no agent bakery.
Checkmk agent, I install it, and it has everything.
Yes, that's even one of the key features, because when you want to apply encryption and you want to build it into the agent, you need the agent bakery and enable encryption. So you can move over your key to the agent. Of course, you can do it with the raw edition, but it's more difficult. And now it's built into the raw agent as well.
That's the first step. So I install an agent, and every agent package we build from now on has this tool set, this agent controller included.
Yes.
And it's enabled by default. So I install the agent package, and what's then? I mean, previously that was everything I needed to do, because the port 6556 was open. I could connect the. That has changed now.
Yeah,
obviously.
it's essentially it will continue to work. We won't break existing installations, and even if we at least for now, because the new architecture is quite new, you won't break your communication when you install the agent. It will work, but it will warn you that it's not encrypted.
So if I update to the new agent, everything keeps working.
Yes.
But I get a warning and the Checkmk service in the Checkmk system that
Yes.
you have an unsecure agent connection. And then you can go step by step through all your systems and fix it.
Yeah,
make it secure.
and for now, this even holds true for new installations, but we plan to deprecate that.
Yeah,
And
some bright day in the future.
in the bright future, when everybody knows that this is the thing,
when everyone switches from 2-factor authentication to 3-factor
yes,
authentication.
we will do that.
Okay. Okay, so and what are the steps to activate the security then on the agent?
You need one call to this agent controller that I mentioned to register your host.
Can you show it how this command looks like? So it's a command line, and it works on Linux and on Windows.
On Windows
similar,
as well,
yeah.
similar. Maybe you call it on Windows by a mode of the agent, but that's a detail.
It has a slightly different syntax because
yes,
but it's
yes,
basically
but even the command line arguments then are the same. So what I will show now also holds true for Windows.
Okay, so let's have just a short look at this command line. To see how that's look like.
Yeah, maybe I make it even a bit bigger.
So we are now logged into some monitored host.
Yes,
is it right?
This is my host here. This is the club grill that it's called, and well, we have a monitoring site here that you can see, and I just downloaded.
We assume you just have installed the agent, basically.
I downloaded it essentially with my self-written command here. Don't care about that. I just downloaded the vanilla agent.
Okay.
The normal agent. So what I do now is I just install
-A. Okay.
agent for some host. Well, the host is called some host on my monitoring system. Yeah, I've installed another host, as you can see before, another agent. And now it issues the agent controllers operating in an unsecure mode. Yeah, let's have a look at the site. When I have to make this bigger, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, better.
Or like this. Yeah, we have this Checkmk agent service that's been around for some time. It used to only show the status of the agent updater, but since 2.1, it also shows some information about the agent itself. And now we see, it's this version and OS Linux, and TLS is not activated on monitored host. Yeah, that's what we get when we install it. We install it new or we update, doesn't matter. And as you can see, all the other stuff from my host is working, and I can query the agent. It just works.
Okay, so this is the situation after an update.
Yes, after update and new installation.
And now comes the magic manual interaction. It's all one of the questions that we have. That's why is it not possible that this registration, which we will see now, is automatically? I think we see the answer when we make it.
Yeah, let's have a look at the registration first. We have this agent controller, and the agent controller.
So this is a new command, or is it?
This is a command. This is shipped with the agent, and this is the small program that we wrote.
It's a small command line tool that's used for fiddling around with the agent.
It's used for completely operating the agent.
Yeah,
it will establish the connection. It will do the port via, well, it's a systemd service still that is directly connected to this agent controller in daemon mode, and it's also used for registration.
Okay, and on Windows you have the same functionality, but it's built into the agent binary. Or what's the difference here when you call it?
It's still a separate binary.
Okay.
It's built in the same way. When you contact the host on the Windows host, you will reach the agent controller, and that one will query the Windows agent.
Okay, perfect. So
as we know it until now.
So let's have a look. So to summarize, in order to have the secure connection, we need to build up a trust between the Checkmk agent and the server. Yeah. And that's something we call registration here.
Yes.
And now we see how this works.
Yeah, let's have a look into the help of the agent controller completely. And we see that we have some commands that we can issue. And now we want to register. So
I mean, there's one question why this goes not automatically, but as I have understood TLS, if it would go automatically, it couldn't be really secure, because how can you be sure that you are talking to the real Checkmk server?
Yeah, that's the point.
You install some generic Checkmk package somewhere and say it should register automatically. Where's the security? So at least once we need to manually check that we are speak with a real connection.
Exactly, and that's what we do now. I can be root or just use my sudo here.
Yeah. Okay.
We see what we need now. We need a server. In this case, it's my local host because I have running it all on my machine.
So this is the Checkmk server, basically.
This is the Checkmk server. And now I need a site. I called this live.
Okay.
And I need a user that has rights to do the registration.
So some Checkmk administration user, for example, this generic user that's created automatically.
There is a common question of if we could just introduce a role that is only allowed to register because it may be a security impact to use an admin that is allowed to do many things. And
maybe you could create such a role yourself, but maybe it's good if we.
And the answer is just yes, we plan to.
Okay. So
we plan to create such a user so that
okay, so that's
will be useful. We need our host name.
Of course. And that's the monitoring host name that should be used in Checkmk.
Yes, that's the host that we just saw. It has to be there. So
which is every Checkmk user know, the host name, the monitoring needn't necessarily be the same as the host has itself. So
yes. So you have to pass it here, of course.
Okay. So and just to be clear, this does not mean that this host is created in Checkmk. We will come to that later. It's expected to already be there.
Yes, it has to be there when we do this manual registration. Yeah, and we will be presented with a certificate that is issued to the server. If you are a power user, you can paste it now and have a look at it with OpenSSL.
I mean, that's basically the trust. Now it's the last time to check if that Checkmk server is really the server that you want to talk to.
You can even have a look at this and have a look at the site structure of your Checkmk server, and when you know where it's placed, you can have a look. It's this certificate. And then you can be sure that you can trust it. And of course, not everybody wants to do this, so we have some information printed directly here. And if you think that this is the site and it should be issued to this is the certification authority of our site, and this is issued to the site that is called live, and it has some validity that is very, very long here, but this may change in the future.
1,000 years. That's good. That should be enough
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is not entirely a problem, but I think we will make it possible to make this period shorter, so you can.
But then you would have to re-register every single agent if
Yes.
this runs out of
Yes.
time. So it's probably.
Yes, we are thinking about how to do
What
this.
period
It's
of time
not.
would you use 5 years or 1 month? Or
Yeah,
I think if you use 5 years, after 5 years everything crashes. Nobody knows why.
Yeah, we would have to
And-
have some architecture to ensure that this doesn't happen. So
The question
that,
is, what actual security problem would be solved by that? If you lose the certificate, if it's
well, you
then
know,
it's,
there are security policies that as soon as you say TLS and X509, it applies. And
Yeah,
there's
I
no
know,
way
but-
to say no. You just have to.
I mean, I guess you would make it 1 year. So if it's compromised, your certificate, you wouldn't certainly wait for 1 year until you fix your security problem. So-
Yes,
and-
it's a bit theoretical,
Yeah.
but
Okay, but
but,
it's just a side issue. So we have the certificate. We say, okay, that's really our server. We
Yes.
trust them. Then you say yes.
yeah, I say yes. It's the default. Enter.
And now comes the reason why this is not automatic currently, because you need the password, of course.
You can pass it by command line.
You can, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
you can
but-
script it, but it cannot. It's not in a way that you just install the agent and everything works out of
Yes.
the box.
You can script it, yes. And when we have a look again at our registration command, you can also say trust cert, and then
Yes,
you won't be
course.
prompted for
Yeah.
trust. So this has to be scriptable, of course.
Yeah, of course, it's fully automatable, but we need to understand that this is this is the point of time where we make sure that the Checkmk server is real, and the Checkmk server makes sure that we are real because we know
Yes.
the password. And just because
Exactly.
of these two things, we have a mutual trust, and then we are secure.
And let's have a look at our site.
And I guess what? If you reschedule the check, it probably switches over to green.
Yeah, and it's green.
Yeah, perfect. So let's have a look at the questions. So some of the questions. One obvious question is, can we disable the TLS warning? Why would you do that? Because you have 500,000 hosts
Mm-hmm.
and don't want 500,000 warnings because of your operating. So there's probably a way to disable that, at least for the while.
Yes, at least for a while. Well, you can disable it by well, there is a when we have this host, this monitoring here, we can have a look. There's this encryption rule, and you can allow non-TLS
Yeah, okay.
connections. Yeah, and you can even exclude the agent controller entirely. There are also use cases for this. Let's say you want to have a really lightweight agent that
Yes.
does not even include this tiny program that is 4 MB. You want an agent package that is a few kilobytes. You can even
So to summarize it, if you have the situation,
I'm in
you
the
update
wrong
to the
one
new
here.
Checkmk, you get all these thousands of warnings, so you don't want them. You create one rule to rule them all, and
and here you can disable the
Yeah.
agent controller. And when you disable the agent controller, the agent that issues well, in the end, the section to form this Checkmk agent service, it will recognize, oh, there's no controller at all. It seems that this is the legacy architecture and it's intended, and I won't warn about it.
okay.
Yeah.
Then,
So,
there's a
fine to go
question from
without.
from Robert. Why does the site need a new port for registering the TLS connection? So this process that we have seen, that I register to the central side to my Checkmk side uses a new port. It doesn't use HTTPS or something.
Yeah.
Or what's the idea?
We haven't talked about this yet. We can have a look at the status, and we see our registered hosts, and we see that this is connecting to this port 8006. It's port 8000.
But just for the registration.
No, this
Or
is
what's
not
the
just for registration. This is for the agent communication. Yeah, well, it is for now. For now, it is just for registration. Yes.
Because I just wonder because the server pulls the agent and not the other way around. So
yeah, for now it is for registration. Yes, we have this dedicated endpoint because we also have a software at the other side of at the site that is called the agent receiver.
You speak about the push agent, the upcoming.
Yeah. That's it. And we also register there. And we do this because we want our really own protocol, and we don't want to go via the system Apache that is in front of the Checkmk side.
For security, for performance reasons also.
Yeah, maybe not really for performance reasons. That's also a point. Yes, it will be a bit more performant if we have our lightweight agent receiver, but also the system Apache is in the hand of the system administrator. That's not our code. That's not our software. And
but before we go into the details of that, let's talk about the push agent.
Yeah.
So push agent, it's very obvious. It means that the agent pushes its data actively to the Checkmk server and not like usually the other way around.
Yes.
So what's the kind of situations that we want to solve with the push agent?
Yeah. By the way, I think we can switch off the screen again, so we don't get distracted by it. The push agent is essentially the other way around. The host will just push its monitoring data to the Checkmk server. And why would we do that?
I know thousands of reasons. We did this before, but with handcrafted scripts and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. But there's one central reason. It's because we want to be able to run the Checkmk server sometime in the cloud.
Yeah,
and then where is it located? Somewhere in the internet. And do we want some random server? Okay, it's not random, but do we want some server in the internet to reach out to our host? I think certainly not.
I know the internet. When I started with the internet in the university, everything had the public IP addresses, even publicly available 286 computers in the computer room.
Yeah, that's some time ago.
Yeah, and everyone used Telnet for connections and so on.
Yes, I think. Well, it might even be okay to reach out to our host, but it will just not be allowed in many.
There are other situations where push agent I remember situations where we had customers where we even sent monitoring data via email.
Yes.
It's a kind of push agent via email system when you have very, very remote customers and want to collect monitoring data from there.
Yeah, and maybe
put
do
the
it
agent
with
information
piggyback.
into. And I'm not sure if you remember our demonstration server. It was possible to donate monitoring data.
Okay.
By pushing in an anonymous way. So if you want to donate your data, you would set up a rule in Checkmk and of your system, and Checkmk would send an email every 5 minutes, for example, to this special email address, and your host would pop up in the demo system.
Okay, no, I don't remember that. I think that's even before my time.
Yeah, and that was also kind of push agent.
Yes,
so
kind of.
Problem is had always been there that it would be desirable sometimes to turn the way around.
Yes.
Because on the other hand, I think pulling as a default makes sense, because you also get to know whether your host is reachable or not, and stuff like that. So it's very, very stable and reliable, and makes the host very simple, the monitored host.
Yeah, and the push agent, it will reach out to this agent receiver port.
Okay, so it's a new way to use the agent. It's an alternative where you can decide for every host, do I want to push or pull?
And one of the reasons why we don't go via the Apache, via HTTPS, is that we don't speak HTTP.
Yes.
We have our own protocol and we apply TLS to it. So it's no HTTPS. It is our internal protocol with TLS.
I personally also think it's very important to make this as lean as possible. Also because of performance reasons, when you really have vast monitoring infrastructure.
Yes, it's far more lean than having this overhead of an HTTP header and body.
And also the web
stuff.
server that processes all the data. Performance always matters.
Yeah.
It's a lesson learned from 10 years of monitoring more.
Yeah, and now essentially you can register, and when you're doing pull, that is the classic way, and when you're doing push, you use the same certificates. In this case, our certificate of our host is the client.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And when will the push agent be available?
It will be available in the new Enterprise Plus edition that I think will be released with Checkmk 2.2. That's a new edition that has some extra features that are very useful for using Checkmk in a cloud, but not only for the cloud.
Yes, of course. Let me just have a look at the questions.
Yeah.
These two questions. Let's go back for a second to the TLS, to the migration path.
Yeah.
One important question is, what's the migration path when I update to the new Checkmk? As a first step, I could disable these warnings because I want to make the update to a new Checkmk version. And if I have 100,000 monitored hosts, I cannot do this in one day. And I cannot have 100,000 warnings. So I disable these warnings.
Yes.
But then, of course, I want to get secure over a certain period of time. What's the proposed way to do this step by step?
Yeah. All customers, all users that are used to the agent updater also know that you have to do some sort of registration. So the first step will be to have a plan to do the registration on all hosts, and you will maybe do this with perhaps Ansible or SaltStack or some kind of deployment
I register all the hosts.
Yes.
I can take as long time as I need for that.
Because you have to download the agent in the first place, and
anyway,
you won't do this manually either. And
whatever system you have, the agent updater or some homebrewn system, or
you will have some sort of deployment script that you have to write by your own in the first place. Even if it only downloads the agents, it has to install them. And then you have to add maybe one more line to register your host.
But if I use the agent updater and the bakery and stuff like that, do I still need these command line ones, or is it completely automatable?
Yeah, it will. There will be a way to have this completely automatical. It will also be available with Checkmk 2.2 in the Enterprise Plus edition.
Okay.
Yeah, and as we've seen, we have to specify our host name when we do this registration. But there will also be a new mode that is called Register New, and that will be some kind of rule based. you can go you will be able to go to the monitoring site and specify some rules in your setup that apply to certain agent labels. And you say,
but just to summarize, the idea is that the host creates itself in Checkmk. Is it right?
yes,
You speak of that.
this is
something
the
new.
goal, yes.
Yeah.
And based on these agent labels that will be sent by the host on registration, the monitoring server will decide which host to create. So when you already have your hosts on your monitoring system and need a migration path, this is possible. This is possibly not for you because it aims to add new hosts.
Yes.
But you're fine to use this to have this automatically and to create your hosts, and you don't need to issue some additional data on registration. That's just the registration, and you can even, with the help of the agent bakery, it will be possible, or we plan to make it possible to do the registration also automatically. Of course, you have to include some credentials.
Yeah, of course.
So again, there have to be some credentials in the agent, but we plan to make them as limited as possible. And maybe you don't even have to choose a user, but there will be a user that is used internally for that.
We have a question that's quite the opposite.
Okay.
How can I make sure, how can the TLS feature be activated as default for updated installations, for updated? So as I've understood, if you just update, it's deactivated by default, the warning, or what's the? For now, it's by default said that you that the communication will work and issue this warning. So then it's anyway the default situation. So even if I update an existing Checkmk with new agents and new Checkmk, I will get lots of warnings that I hadn't get before.
Yes. Yeah, and if you want to make sure that this TLS communication is really used, we built it in a way that the migration path is possible for now, and in some future version, we will deprecate this, I think. So it will be secure, and the communication will not be possible without interaction. Or without this registration. And of course, we will do this only after it is possible to automatically register. So you have a chance to do this. But this is there is a way, yes, for sure. You can, there is an internal command to the agent controller that you can issue. Well, I have to look it up. There's a command that is called. Oh, it's not included here, but there's a command that is used to allow this legacy mode. And essentially, what is underneath there is I don't have it here, but in this directory that is by the way the home directory of the CMK agent user that is used to run this agent controller, there we can place a file that is called allow legacy pull, and if it's not there, the agent controller will refuse to do this legacy mode. But don't rely on this. This is sort of an implementation detail. Okay. But there is a way to ensure this, and it's just another command that has to be issued.
One question we have already got before the stream started, and the question: sometimes you have an agent that needs to be pulled by more than one Checkmk server.
Yes.
How's that working with this registration?
You can just do that. Register it, and you're fine.
So you need to make this registration twice. Is it correct?
Yes. You need one registration per site.
Yeah. So the agent has a kind of list of registered target hosts, and runs straightforward without any.
You can even
Yeah.
mix push and pull
Okay,
connections.
perfect. Perfect. Another question is with the CA. Will it be possible in future or now to use someone's own enterprise CA
Yeah.
instead of the Checkmk CA that's created on the site automatically?
Well, it's if you really know what you're doing, you can go to the site structure and of your Checkmk site.
Place it,
Yeah, and place it there, and well, you have to hit the right files, and you have, of course, you will have to restart the agent receiver to apply it, and you will have to issue a server certificate or a certificate for the agent receiver by yourself. So it is possible, and I think we plan to make it possible to make this easier to replace.
Yeah, so it's possible, but it's not really good, not really well documented, and there's no user interface to it. So,
yeah, right now it's not documented at all, but
okay.
maybe our approach will be to just document this thoroughly, or to make it possible maybe via user interface, but I'm not sure. But this question is around for some time, and it makes sense because you can even skip this step of trusting the server, perhaps when you have an enterprise infrastructure, maybe per Active Directory on Windows, that applies this the root certificate to all your machines in your enterprise, and then you're fine. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. So now I think we need once again go back to this automatic setup, because that's something people obviously want to have.
Yeah, that's always the case.
Some ask why can the agent bakery pre-register the agent is one question, or the other question is this automatic setup possible with Enterprise Plus, or is it not? And can we repeat this? The simple question, we have now this new TLS stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen you need to enter this command line, add some password, and I don't want to do this. I want to automate this. Have we a solution out of the box now or later that will automate this registration process?
Yes, in the Plus edition.
Okay.
Enterprise Plus edition, it's called, I think, or it will be called.
Okay, so that's one of the discriminating features of this Plus edition.
Mm-hmm.
Also the push agent, is it also
only? It's also Plus edition only, yes.
Okay, so if you don't have the Plus edition or don't want it, you need to script that yourself.
Yes.
Or do it with Ansible. Maybe you could use these command line options for trust the server and my password is this. Then you have a tiny amount of insecurity at the point of time of registration.
Yes.
When that is done and finished, you are secure. So then the automation shouldn't be too difficult.
Yes.
Because it's just the same command line for every host.
It's done like this in many installations that use the agent updater, because there you have the same problem. By the way, agent updater and agent controller, we shouldn't confuse the two. They're completely separate. They talk on different interfaces, and you still have to register your agent updater even when you register the agent. Maybe we will do this. We will put this to the same interface that we move the agent updater over to the agent controller. That would make sense, but we are still discussing this.
Now there's an interesting aspect. You might have a host that's monitored from various sides, and sometimes in a kind of failover. When the agent moves from one side to the other, do I need to register? I think you would have to register at every side that the host could possibly be monitored from. Is it right?
Well, yes, when you move it to another site, you have to register there. Yes.
Because it's very easy in Checkmk, because the monitor that hot from that side, I just need to change this one attribute, activate changes, and then that host would not be registered at his new site if I have not done it. Okay.
Yeah. We always have distributed monitoring in mind, and we are working on a solution for this. I'm not entirely sure if you can move it from one side to the other in a distributed setup. Maybe that's possible. That's I can't answer that now, but it should be possible.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because wouldn't it be possible to simply copy the server, the certificate from one side to the other to make it the same, so that if a host is registered in one side, it works for every site? Or is it just a mindless hack?
You want to copy the registration data from one host to another.
Imagine a scenario where I have, say, 10 sites, and they share all the trust. So if I trust one site, I trust all sites. And if one site trusts me, all of the sites trust me, because they share their same certificate or CA or whatever. Is it possible to think about that?
Yes,
it is. Realm of trust is that all my sites are equally secure, and
yes, it's not done this way right now. But when you have a distributed setup and you have a central site and some remote sites, and you register at the remote site, it would be an idea to have a certification authority that comes from the central site, and then you have a root certificate that. That comes from the central site, and then of course you can move to another site.
Okay, so that's an idea for the future.
At least by trust.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as always, we will see what kind of pains our customers have.
Yeah.
What problems arise, and then find the best solutions. But right now you have to register for every single site that the host wants to be monitored by.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple of questions about the Plus edition, but I'm not sure if it's a topic for today.
Yeah.
When is it released? What will it cost? Stuff like that.
Yeah, can't code too much in detail, and that's I can't answer to that with being sure. Maybe that's
we will postpone that to the next stream or
question for our product management.
So I mean, that's pretty interesting, everything. So as always, things become more secure and more complicated. That's for me the summary, and we don't have a choice. We need to get the secure way. And
we have to gain trust somehow, and well, there will be this possibility to do this via Agent Bakery. Well, of course you will have to configure a rule for that, and then you can bake agents, and you will be able to bake some agents for some hosts that are not there yet, because right now when you are used to the Agent Bakery, there's one generic agent that you can download and install, full stop. And now you want to bake for hosts that are not there yet. That's not possible. So we introduced the possibility to bake for folders that you create and set up in Checkmk. So you will have the possibility to bake some or multiple setups for some hosts to have at least more than one, or to have some generic agents that include the matching credentials to do the registration. And it will also include this certificate, this root certificate that is used to trust the server. So it won't do trust on first use, as we've seen recently here in this little command I issued. It will include the root certificate, and you trust it by downloading it from your Checkmk server.
Yeah, okay.
Because, yeah, you can only download it with sufficient rights, and that's your way to gain the trust. And with that, yes, it needs a setup step, but after that, you can install your agents and you're fine.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still optional. The TLS, you can disable it, can continue.
Yes,
as
you
always,
you can do so.
if you are living in a secure and safe environment, it might even be okay.
Yeah,
do so.
yes, of course.
Depends
If you've done huge efforts to have your environment secure and doing all that stuff, and you say you don't need this encryption now.
Anyway, we have a read-only method for the Checkmk agent. So
Yes.
a possible attacker could just, he could see what processes are running on some target system, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he couldn't inject commands or stuff like that. So the architecture of the Checkmk agent is secure by design to a certain degree. But of course, it's not confidential. And for that, we need the TLS. But I think, because previously we said when you need a higher security level than this normal agent, you would use Checkmk over SSH.
Yes, that is still a possibility, and that's still a good idea to do when you want security.
But it always was a pain in the ass to set it up.
Yes.
So that's much easier now, the TLS. And I mean, the TLS is secure enough, please correct me if I'm wrong, to monitor hosts via the internet.
Yeah, I would say so.
Which is something new, because that's something we didn't propose to do with the normal agent.
Yeah.
That was used for your own environment. But we always said when you monitor via the internet, use SSH. And that's now not longer necessary. So at that situation, we even get a simplification.
Yeah. Yeah, one may argue if TLS is as secure as SSH. I don't want to try to make a statement here.
I think it's a case of the bugs. If both have no bugs, I think both are pretty much secure enough.
But at least if you don't trust that TLS is certainly safe, you
cannot do online banking
or all that stuff. You have to do it offline, because that's the way how the internet works today.
And that's still possible with Checkmk. I mean, we have customers that have so-called dyads. It's very interesting. You have a network segment that's connected to another segment, and the only connection is a one-way connection that's physical one-way, not in a logical way. It's physical. You have, for example, a light, an LED, and a receiver, but only in the one direction.
Yeah, so many possibilities.
Physically impossible to receive data or to send data into the network. It's still possible to use Checkmk, because you can send the monitoring data through this connection.
Yeah, you can do exceptionally safe setups with Checkmk, and you could always do. We just wanted to make it enabled by default and to make it easier.
To have a better default security, and that as easy as possible. Yeah.
Yes, and we did this by breaking this down to one register command.
Yeah.
And if we want to get rid of this, okay, we have to set up some stuff.
But then you introduce some new insecure points at other places. Because then you have to trust this automated script, and you don't check the things anymore at the time you enter the command.
Well, you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't take this from you.
Yeah. So I think that's nice final words. So thank you all for watching and listening. We still have a couple of unanswered questions as always. Use our Checkmk forum if you like, and maybe we see us at the next conference. So Andy, thanks for your time.
Yeah, I hope so. I will be there. Will you be there?
Yeah, of course. Sure, as always. So have a nice time and see you next time.
See ya.